The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Oh, God, I just don't know how this show is going to go. I have two crazy people here. But this is Ken Gidge, and this is the Art of Politics, the only show where you have one Republican, two Republicans tonight, and one Democrat. And, of course, the Democrat's the good person, and the Republicans are, well, you know, they're the Republicans. And this is Pam Tucker, Republican. Fred Rice. Now, Pam has been here. You have done this show. I think this is the second or third time.
Second or third time I've been down here.
Okay,
yes.
and you've done Seidel's show.
Yep, and I might have done Kevin's. I'm not sure if I have.
Okay, all right. So you're well known in this pot. Now, Fred Rice is what is called my seatmate, which sits right next to me. And what Fred and I give him such a hard time, you know, but. A little bit about Fred. Tell the people, you know, to make sure that I'm trying to let people know that there are intelligent Republicans who really make mistakes.
That would be all of them,
who
Ken.
really make mistakes. Okay. West Point?
I graduated from West Point, yes, and served 10 years in the Army. Went to Vietnam a couple times. And for the last 40 years, I've been in private business, and most of the last several years as a consultant. And in an environmental field, believe it or not. I am an environmentalist, but I'm not a tree hugger.
Oh, God. That's all I can think of is waste. All right,
Republicans love trees, too.
Republicans? No, they don't.
I bet you I planted more trees than you have.
They want to cut them down and burn them.
Remember who established the EPA? A Republican.
And what about those national parks? Wasn't that, Teddy Roosevelt, what was he? Republican.
You know, I already just told the people, I'm not sure about this show. I can beat people up, but, you know. Oh, well, first of all, what did you do at West Point?
I studied very, very hard.
Artistically.
Extracurricular. We're talking about artistically.
Right.
Okay. No, I sang in the Cadet Glee Club. And I sang in, and then in my senior year, I directed the Catholic Chapel Choir. And one of the more interesting things I did, I got to direct about a 60-voice choir for a high mass in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. And that was quite an experience.
You were on whose show?
Ed Sullivan's show, two different times.
Two different times?
And one time we were on there with the Brothers Four.
Oh, really?
Joan Rivers was on one time when we were on there, and I can't remember some of the other stars, but it was quite an experience.
And you were also on Name That Tune.
Yes, back in the 70s when we lived out in Southern California. I kept sitting at home all the time watching the show, and my wife kept saying, but you don't earn any of the money. So one day when I was up in LA, I dropped by and interviewed, and they put me on the show, and I did okay. I won that night's show.
Okay, Pam, and I'll explain why I'm introducing this in a moment. And Pam, you play the
piano. Or shall we say, used to play the piano.
You still play.
I do on occasion, you know, like the Christmas tunes and the like, but the opportunity to play isn't as often as it used to be.
Well, I think why I'm bringing this up right now is that because Fred is one of the founders, I'm one of the founders of New Hampshire. Legislators Art Council,
Right.
and I'm not sure exactly what the name will be, but Legislators
That's the
Art
working
Council.
title.
Correct. And we're going around to all legislators and find out what they have done creatively early in their life. But you still play.
Oh, yes, I do.
And Fred, I mean, come on.
Oh, well, they have reunions of the Cadet Glee Club. And a number of years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, they had the first one. They had another one about 4 years ago, a reunion of the Cadet Glee Club alumni. And the first time we had it, the Glee Club itself has about 100 voices. We ended up with 150 people went back. The oldest one was a graduate from the class of 52, yes. And the newest one was a younger graduate from the class of 2002.
Okay. Before you go too far, let's get right back to this creature that we're creating up at the State House. That is to find out how many legislators have done artistically creative. And inside Commerce, that's where we're all from, by the way, Commerce Committee, Banking, Insurance, and Consumer Affairs. And that we should talk about that, that's funny. But in Commerce Committee, I think we're, how many, 18 or 19, and I think 12 or 14 have done something artistically creative. So Fred and I are one of the founders, also with Emily Sandblade. And if we can get 300 or close to 300 showing that they have done something artistically creative, we're going to be the most creative
legislative body in the country.
United States.
Yeah,
I think you should do that. You need to send out a survey to everybody.
Well, excuse me, you're helping too, you just don't know it yet. You just don't know it yet.
But we're going to ask for all kinds of things, not just musicians, but in the music category, everything from composers to singers to directors to instrumentalists, pianists, all kinds of things like that.
Bill O'Brien
We're going to go into
has
painting and sculpture.
Plays.
Right, well, this is artistic, so it's not just the music.
Creative,
Oh, no.
arts
No,
and
no.
creativity. We're looking for the creativity.
humanities.
Dance, anything. Because how in life has your piano, let's ask you first, how has your music, learning about it and playing, how has it influenced you?
Well, I know all the studies say that those who teach music and learn music at a young age helps them with math. Interestingly enough, I've always been good in math, and my children, who I've taught them, and they take lessons for piano, are both good in math as well. So I truly believe there is that correlation. I find music, in terms of the influence, it either pumps you up or winds you down when you're coming to and from the State House. And it
Great
depends
point.
how you listen to it, what you want to listen to, and how you want to feel when you get to the State House or when you want to leave the State House.
That's a great. I'm usually listening to audiobooks, and I'm in at the
I've done
moment
a
of
lot
a
of those.
thriller. Okay, damn, I gotta go in there. Okay, how has that affected you?
Well, I've always been so into music, it isn't even funny. I've always been involved in music one way or the other. I love the beginning of rock and roll. When, I'm just at the right age where Elvis Presley came out when I was in high school. Graduation Day came out my senior year in high school. So all of these musical
What
things.
year was that?
1956.
Boy, is he an old guy?
Yeah, I know, I'm really.
Were you
But
born?
right now,
I forget.
1970.
but
I forget.
right now,
1960.
it travels down through the family. Our grandson is a musical prodigy. He has been, we just got word the other day that he got a full ride scholarship for 4 years to a college in Webster College, just west of St. Louis. Full ride scholarship for everything in music education.
Wow, that's
and he is a phenomenal performer.
That's the singer I saw.
Yes,
You brought
yes.
it, yeah.
I
And
showed
that's
you the
how
video.
we got basically talking about it, because right now there's just three of us talking about this Legislative Arts Council, but I don't think people really understand, because you know how hard it is to try to get people to say, yeah, well, like Mun said,
yeah.
well, I play the clarinet, and
Yeah.
the new person said,
Yeah.
well, I haven't done anything, I only wrote 2
I wrote
books.
2 books, yeah. that was-
Wow.
And I'm going, oh, okay.
phenomenal.
So, but if we do this and do it properly, I think it's going to bring New Hampshire a lot, something really, really positive. Because I'm getting a little sick of when someone, maybe a Republican or a Democrat, really does something dumb. All politicians are dumb.
Yes.
And I just think it's about time we get something positive. But we are a little pushback from maybe the, not the administration, but maybe, which I'll tell you off when the show is done. But we're not.
We'll leave it at
but
that.
we're not going to stop.
But you know, the idea of this whole thing is unique enough that it's got some appeal. It's got some PR appeal, if you will. So if we come up with a good tally of all the people in the House who have various backgrounds in everything from being writers to instrumentalists to whatever, performers, anything, I think that's going to get enough public interest that it will go viral across. It'll go across the country.
Well, I think that's exactly what we want, and I think you know, I'm an art person. I fight more for other artists more times than I fight for myself. For instance, here in the city of Nashua, a particular college which wishes to redo itself, and there's this little rotary, and there is this sculpture, memorial sculpture, that it was for a family who lost a child, and they said, well, they want to move it so they could do something with the rotary, and that means the sculpture will go away, which means it's a memorial sculpture. And I'm going, no. I said, I'll go up there and I'll walk around it. And they, oh, you won't do that. I says, I will, because we just have to fight for art, and now this is how we can lead into politics.
Art into politics.
All right.
The art of politics. Doesn't it say that on here? The
Yes.
art of politics,
Yes,
right here.
And by the way, I went to the printer today, and I'm getting on those little things we have. I'm sorry I didn't bring one here for our advertising, and they're getting some prices on stuff.
Good for you.
So it's going to be very, very fascinating. Now, this week, what took place up at the State House this week on Wednesday? Well, we did Wednesday and Thursday. It was a very long week.
It was long, but it wasn't overly long. I don't think it was. We were out of there by 7 o'clock both nights.
For this time of year, it wasn't that long. It was long. The thing that's unusual is that we're going to be
Did they
going
feed you
so
pizza?
many additional days. We're going to be doing
Yes.
Wednesdays and Thursdays next week, and the following week we've been alerted that it could be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, depending on how much debate
Yes.
there is.
Why in the world? These are just, this is not a line drawn in the sand that we have to have it done. I mean, it's
Yeah, there
Yes,
is.
there is.
There is.
Well,
We have to have it done by crossover.
But no, wait, hold on a second. Just stand up and just change the rules. Add another 5 to 6 days.
That's
That's
not
all
fair.
it is.
But no, you can't. First off, that's.
What do you mean you can't?
Because the Senate's doing their
No,
stuff too.
because the Senate's doing theirs, and if you
Oh.
think about it, we send over, and I know we never talk about the people on the other side of the wall.
Well, I
But
don't want to.
in deference.
Well, we will, but I'm sick of 24 overruling
They're
400.
not overruling
Name
it,
of the
but the
game.
bottom line is we send over a ton more bills to them than they send over to us, just because we do 600-700 a session, even though we clear many of those out before they even make it over.
Now, I wonder why.
Because they're worthless, a lot of them are.
Bizarre.
A lot of them
Right,
are
a
worthless and
bill.
bizarre. You're
Yes,
absolutely
we
right.
need to go to biennial sessions. We can talk about that too. But that's why. We talked about it in rules about setting the date and giving us more time because we had more bills, but it came back and that was the date we really
Oh,
need to
that's
stick
just,
to it.
that.
We can do you know then we
you
should
can-
stay later rather than have everyone come down for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We should go to the later sessions, go to 8 and 9 o'clock at night. We signed up for this job. We have to do the people's business. I would do it, rather have us come in on 2 days, save the taxpayers the extra mileage for the extra day.
Listen to
I most
her.
certainly
Oh,
would.
my God.
But there's one aspect of this
I don't have
too.
caucuses on Monday.
There's one thing that's very responsible for why we have so much work, and that is that although we have a very large consent calendar where the committee voted unanimously
yeah,
for it,
yeah.
and we can go through 20, 30, 40 bills in one vote, one voice vote to approve them, there are still an awful lot left. And every single one, it seems, more and more, somebody will call for a division vote where you don't record it by name, and then we're just about sat down for the division vote, and then somebody will yell roll call, where you
Yes.
have to stand up and get it
that
seconded,
is
and then
the
it takes more time.
Republicans who are doing this
No.
all the time.
Last term,
So,
every roll call, virtually every roll call was called by a Democrat.
In turn, the speaker said, no more, divisions. And then, but when someone would call for it, she would say, would you like a roll call? And they would say no, and we moved on. But then she took a break and came back and went back to divisions. Shame on you guys. Why did you do that?
Last
Shame
term,
on us.
Do you realize that Baldessaro was even mad?
Last term,
And
the
he's usually
Democrats called
mad.
for him.
Oh, no,
Kenny,
wait.
Kenny,
Wait.
it's the party in the minority
Oh,
puts the majority puts their feet to the fire, so that after all is said and done, they will have a record of how every single person voted on anything that's the slightest bit controversial, and both sides do this, and they use that as opposition research for the next upcoming election.
Moreover,
that's what happens to
why
a great extent.
wouldn't you
Why in
want
the
your
world?
vote on record? You are representing the people.
No,
I want
I
transparency
don't mind
in
that at
government.
all.
I am
have
not
no
saying
problem
that,
with
but
having
when
our
you
votes on
have
record.
300 to 48, you don't need a roll call for that.
But what was the bill that we?
300 to 48.
What was the bill that we
That's-
did the
it
other
doesn't
day
matter.
that we had an hour's discussion and then it came out to that?
To about
That's-
300, yeah.
That's when it's a little ridiculous. Some people get up there and fight. Some people really believe in little tiny issues, and you've got to allow them to do it.
Yeah,
Everyone
well, there's
has
some
their-
people up there
their
with really
issue.
tiny minds. Let me
Well, it
tell
might
you.
be. Sometimes they're
And I
doing
didn't
that.
mention Republicans or Democrats.
See, sometimes
They're
they're
all
doing it.
I
to
did
the
say
Republicans.
us, the three of
They're
us.
representing their constituents,
That's
and it
right,
might be an
sometimes-
issue that is important to their constituents, and so they have
That
every right
is
to
a
speak.
budget. This is
Yes.
just, it's
Yes.
politics. What can we go? You know what? That's stupid. I was just going to say,
I
can we
haven't-
go up there and not play politics? That's dumb.
Wait,
I
well,
have
all right.
introduced.
Really
I have
fun. I'm
introduced
sorry.
bills.
Don't even go there.
I'm sorry. Getting things done, playing politics.
I've introduced bills that I have no personal interest in, but I've had a constituent that really wanted
Oh,
something done.
no.
And so I
Yes.
promised them that I will fight, I'll do the best job I can to get it passed, and I will file it properly, I will follow up, I'll testify on it when it comes before the committee, and if it goes to the floor and it's not a consent vote, I will testify in favor. I'll back it up, and I do that.
Okay,
and I
this
think
is a-
everybody should.
this is-
Republicans do that. Do the
Right.
Democrats?
This is a this is a good point. Who can file a bill, and it is only a representative. So
Yes.
if you have
Or
a
senator.
bill or something that you would like filed or believe should be filed, find your representative or any representative, actually.
Or senator.
Or senator.
Or senator.
Although they're kind of senators, I don't know.
Well,
No, but
There are a couple of
senators,
Republicans that
but
just-
senators have to please a much broader constituency.
Oh.
And they don't have
yes, they
pockets of
do.
Republicans or pockets of Democrats that they can appeal to. They've got to appeal to a much broader area. And they've got to be a lot more judicious in what they
my
say and the positions they
opinion,
take.
Senators are just have to be a little crazier than representatives, all right? Because of the work that we do is just unbelievable.
Well, we do most of the work. Our bills that we send over are
I know.
really
Ours are more
well
senators,
vetted
yeah,
bills.
they
There's
got-
no
Ours are more
question about
emotional.
Throw
it.
it away. There we go.
I think our bills are more emotional in the way they are put forward. I think that they are subject to a lot more highs and lows. We've got some people, we bring people in from the very fringes on both sides.
Fringes? Let me give you a fringe
Both
vote
sides.
that you both voted against. Someone brings up a bill that says, hey, 16, cannot use their telephones and they're driving a car, and you voted against that bill.
Yes, I have
You
a 16-year-old.
voted against that bill.
Oh, I'll tell you why.
So in other words, you don't mind if your 16-year-old gets on the phone and starts talking while they're driving a car?
Absolutely not. But you know whose job it is to teach them that? Certainly not the government's. The government's should not be usurping my authority. Well, can you hear me out on this? Because I really thought about this, because my 16-year-old
go. All
who
right.
just started driving, I am the perfect soccer mom
right,
example
okay,
to use
all
for
right,
this.
okay.
16-year-old, all right, she already had her car smashed up a little bit too,
See,
okay?
she's feisty, isn't she? When she gets going, can you imagine having this lady, Baldessaro, and Bill O'Brien?
It was so much fun. I don't
Yes,
know
it's called the House Republican Alliance.
I never got a word
It's
in.
called Poor Democrat. That's what
No, no.
Okay, go ahead.
So the deal is you can pass these laws, okay, and hopefully these kids and adults, because
Well, what's the law?
the law is they can't even have the phone in their hand. A 16 or 17-year-old can't
Correct.
even hold it. Can't even hold it in the hand.
No,
What if it's,
nobody can have
Right,
it.
well,
now.
we can't, but we can't be talking on it if this all goes through and becomes a law.
Okay.
But 16, 17-year-olds
Okay,
can't do
so
anything.
no phone, like
Can I talk
talking.
Right, my 16-year-old. That law is not going to scare her, okay? You know, smoking pot, the law isn't going to scare her. Drinking and driving is not going to scare her. You know what's going to scare her? Her dad and her mom saying, if we ever catch you, you're done and you lose your car. The government is not the one that should be making that authority. We should. Yes, it's a really bad idea. Adults, us, Some of us can actually talk on the phone and drive. We can walk
No,
and
you
talk and
can't.
chew gum.
You
Oh, we
cannot,
most certainly
especially
can.
The problem with that.
And we can drive at 80 miles an hour and do it too. On 101.
drinking a beer and, and putting makeup on. And what did somebody say about makeup?
I do
reason-
put makeup on while I drive.
The reason why so many.
Wait, well,
It's
hold
so
on a second.
easy.
This is getting too good. You put makeup on
Do you know where your mirror is? Your mirror's right here. Yes, you can easily do it because your eyes are on the
as
road.
she's driving. Oh, no.
Oh, how easy is it to put lip gloss on? You're going down the road.
There's
come
another
on.
law.
The,
No
it in.
makeup. Put on.
One of
How
the
many
re-
accidents have I gotten into?
Huh?
How
One of
many?
the-
What? Did you?
For none. Exactly. None. Absolutely none. You put a lawn, I will still get in zero
Because you
accidents.
play the piano. That's the only thing.
One of the
you're concerned.
reasons why
Multitasking.
so many Republicans voted against that. The Democrats were willing to let that bill, be half-baked. The Republicans found a lot of flaws in there. It doesn't adequately cover 911. It doesn't adequately cover when you pull over to the
adequately cover 911.
When you pull over to the side of the road,
no,
it says you
anybody
have to-
can do it.
It says you have to pull over to the side of the road, but state highway, the laws about driving on the road say you can't pull
Excuse me,
over on the road unless it's an emergency.
I got a question. I love you Republicans. This is what you say. You go, well, the bill wasn't that good, so gee, it ought to be better. I didn't see or hear any amendments. And the other thing is, don't you really want your 16-year-old or 6-year-old not going like this, talking on the phone
She
or
doesn't.
reaching for it or going down for it?
I agree.
Do you really want that? So you let it go. We go as Democrats.
we don't want to put
okay,
a-
Republicans found all these flaws in it. I'll tell you what, we'll put it on, let's amend it next year.
Okay, you know what, we should take out radios then, because those are a distraction to kids while they're driving too. Those are probably more a distraction. In fact, I actually, as a 16-year-old, got in an accident fiddling with radios. screwing
Those
around with
buttons
radios,
that you have to look for and
push
and
and
punch
stuff,
and turn
yeah.
and tune and all that stuff.
I actually did hit
What is
somebody.
the IQ of your children? what is your IQ? The kids can't press the radio?
Well, no, the buttons. When I was a kid, I had to.
No, was it you?
Yes.
It must have been you. You got into an accident?
Yes, I did. I'm telling you, not my kid. I got in an accident when I was 16 years old.
When you were
16 years old, I was
What is your
distracted
IQ?
by the radio, not by
do you
lighting a
mean you were just-
cigarette,
I don't
or
believe
by,
this.
we didn't have cell phones back then. So it wouldn't matter. But no, I actually did, because I was driving, I was looking at the radio, and I sideswiped somebody. So the radio is more of
You shouldn't
more.
have said that.
I'm saying out of this
You're
one.
in deep
It's
trouble
worse.
now.
No, the radio is worse than a cell phone.
This is your representative Republican.
When she was 16
What
years
town are you
old,
from now? And
16 years old, yes,
you
I was
couldn't
messing
press
around
buttons.
on the
Okay,
radio.
well, I don't know what to say about that.
Do you remember when you had to
But
push the buttons?
now
for the
you've
radios?
learned how to press buttons.
Yes. Well, no,
Yes.
not and drive at the same time. No, I couldn't, evidently, because I hit some. Oh, I sideswiped
Well,
somebody.
yeah, but now you know how to press buttons against
Yeah, I can
the
actually.
Democrats.
I can actually dial and drive down
Oh
the
no,
road.
I don't believe this. I don't believe this.
Hey, I am just saying. I'm like, people drive 80 miles an hour on 101. I'm just stating what reality is.
So
Pass any
you're
law.
doing
you
it
By the
want.
way, they killed the bill to raise the speed limit on 101 and 89
Pass the
up to
laws. You're
70
not
miles an
changing
hour.
behavior.
Yeah, so
Which
you're-
was, for whether you love him or hate him, Steve Valancourt, Representative Valancourt, has been very passionate about the thing about speed limits.
he has.
And what he's saying is, wherever, 85% of the people where they drive, that is where the limit ought to be. And it's been proven everywhere that that is the safest thing. Most
that's
people
not the
drive
safest thing.
higher than the present speed limit, and there aren't.
I got a
accidents.
question to ask you. We're just, getting her to explain to us
Why she
that she's
sideswipes
pressing
cars.
buttons now, dialing the phone, and doing her hair or,
Yeah.
or makeup.
Yeah.
And you got to go on to another subject, speeding?
Well,
This is too good. I mean, she'll pay for this one.
Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it.
No.
But so you did vote against it then.
A vote? No.
You voted.
Oh, I vote. Yeah,
you
I
voted
did vote against
I'm
it.
sorry you guys didn't. I really think that.
No, I don't like the idea of texting while you're driving.
Absolutely
I would like
not.
to not
By the
see
way,
it.
that was
But
David
this bill
Campbell
didn't
who
do
got
a very
that
good
bill
job.
passed.
But this bill did not do a very good job of addressing the problem completely.
We
And
already
that's the
had
problem
that
with
problem,
many.
though. It's already on the books.
That's the problem with a lot of pieces of legislation, and both of you must have noticed this over the last couple of terms. We get in commerce especially, we have gotten a tremendous number of bills that are not ready for prime time. And we've got a choice. We can either ITL the bill and vote it down, or
something?
we can send it back for interim study, or we can
The
let
sad
it go forward as
part
imperfect.
about you Republicans are, we just went through the you know, the service animal, dog, right? You know,
Yeah.
they're trying to pass that bill. And in comes Hunt, who says his, what was it, not a spaniel?
A
He's got a beagle.
A beagle.
He's got a beagle.
Yeah.
Right, attacks a motorcyclist somehow. The guy drops his bike and it costs him $700. Now I'm saying, excuse me, John, that's John Hunt.
The motorcycle
You
scared
really-
his dog, and his dog barked in reaction, and the motorcyclist couldn't handle a beagle barking, and he fell over.
What he didn't tell you, it was his pet lion that got loose.
You know?
He can afford it.
As I mentioned in the committee
beagle.
hearing, I can empathize with him completely because I have a miniature dachshund, and he thinks he's a Great Dane, and he's got a bark like a lion.
Well, I got a
I mean, he
question.
is
I'll send some
loud.
Hell's Angel friends of mine up there.
My dog
Don't
will
leave
take
your
him
dog
on.
out.
My dog will take him on.
Or so he thinks.
No, but you know,
That's right.
it's things like that. It's here they're talking about everything about the service animal and how about if the service animal goes on somebody else's property and I'm thinking to myself, you guys are forgetting that it's the individual who needs a service animal.
Absolutely
But
not.
there's a
And
responsibility.
you didn't.
Where's the responsibility?
There's a responsibility on the part of the service animal owner too to not go to a place that he knows there's got another dog.
Oh, wait a
there.
minute. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Wait. The person is blind and needs a service animal.
Well, was he to wander around town and wander onto everybody's lawn whether they got a dog or not? That doesn't happen.
No.
They're smart people.
For the people
Everybody
who are,
is smart,
for the
and they go
people
to
who are listening, this is a bill because what happens, several things. Service dogs are being attacked, A. B, there are people who are...
not are being, have been. There
Okay.
are
they
reports
are being
of.
attacked.
There was
That's
no
just
statistics.
There's no statistics were offered
Oh,
on this at
give
all.
me a break.
Who brought any
An
statistics?
animal,
I
that
asked
animal
for
was taught not to
statistics.
fight. So see, they're even arguing about it.
There
They
was.
can't-
But did anybody bring us
You're
any evidence?
blaming a blind person?
No, we're blaming
going
you
on?
for wanting to.
Absolutely
No, look,
not.
here on this
Okay,
one,
wait.
you want to have a law in place because there's a chance that it might happen. Now, when
You don't
Republicans
think
talk about
service animals
just a minute, hear me out. When Republicans talk about voter fraud, you say it's no evidence of it. We don't need that.
Pick up your pen. Okay, come on, let's go. Come on. Okay, I'll tell you. But part of that bill also was that
The impersonation.
that people are.
I have a big problem with that, yes.
I got a story to tell you. You know how people, have dogs, and they say this is a service dog. That's why they can get them on planes, etc.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, the
Well,
Richard
I
Famous
have
do it.
my dog, which was a Jack Russell, and I'm walking the Jack Russell on a leash, and I go into Home Depot, and the guy says, "You can't bring that dog in here." I said, "I can." I said, "I'm a seeing eye person," and I walked right down. And he's like,
And
So
he's
you
still scratching his head.
impersonated?
I
So
impersonated-
you
Still
impersonated a
scratching his
blind
head.
person? Oh
yes,
my
that's right. I told
gosh.
everyone my dog was blind, and I
And you think it's bad that I put lip gloss on while driving and you impersonated?
Listen, that's better than the Republicans
Fraudulent.
saying his little dog knocked over a...
Well, remember what that bill was.
actually kinda
Remember,
funny.
that bill wouldn't have had problems if it had been left in its original form.
Yes.
The original form was that they wanted to stop people from impersonating
Right.
service dogs.
And then it turned
Somebody
into
perfectly
felonies.
healthy, so that they could take their dog with them, said, this is a special service dog. And I can take them anywhere I want. I can take them on my plane with me, everything else. That bill was intended to stop that. That was a good bill as far as it went. And then Representative Schlachman could not resist tacking something else on there.
picking
And she
on
said,
Donna?
I'm just saying that it
come
was
here and
not a
defend
good
yourself.
addition.
Donna?
Donna
It was
should
not a
come.
good
Donna
addition.
should come on the
Protection,
show.
Donna.
That bill, that addition that she made, that amendment that she made was not a good addition because she goes into the penalty phase of it and adds a whole new definition
Well,
of an offense.
you know,
don't
Right.
add definitions of offense.
Look,
That's why that thing didn't
well,
go.
hold on a second. That partially what you're saying is correct. all right?
Partially?
No.
We're
What
always
part? What
correct,
part?
aren't
of
we?
it? What part? What part was that that we were?
That
right
it
on?
was started out as a
I have
service.
to tell people.
It
there's
did.
only
Anti-fraud
two-
bill.
It started out as the anti-fraud bill, which was a great thing, but
Yes.
the felony part, I think they were actually, was it firing squad that was
Excuse
in the
me.
back of that bill?
Ladies
if
and
you
gentlemen,
impersonate?
there are only
there-
2 Republicans, there's 1 Democrat. I mean,
Are you a victim now? Are you
no,
a
I'm not a
victim?
victim at all.
We were actually discussing amongst ourselves, too.
That's correct.
We wanted to have an
And
intelligent
they
discussion.
eliminated the Democrats sitting at the table.
We
This
wanted
is
to have an
TV,
intelligent
guys.
discussion, so we were talking amongst ourselves.
Intelligent? Talking about dogs, right?
Oh, my goodness.
You want to get out the
I
bobs of the
wasn't too sure how the
conversation.
show
We
was
can
going to
do
go,
this.
but now I know what's going on. Right down. No,
Do you miss your co-host yet?
Okay, so
Bill would be on our side, you know.
Who? O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien, he'd be on our side.
Oh boy, I'd like
Strongly.
to go after him. I think he'll be back next week. This is the show we have here. As you know,
Oh, it's a
you've been
fun,
on it. It's
fun
really,
show. Well,
really-
this is a fun show.
No,
Yeah.
try to make it fun.
You don't
But-
take yourself too seriously.
No.
No.
That's a good thing.
We can
'cause you
make fun of
can't,
ourselves when we pretend we're
When you guys shut up,
blind.
it's like you guys are tag teams against me. I usually can
You invited-
divide.
you invited both of
divide
us.
and conquer. I can't. I'm having a hard time.
He was
invited
trying-
us both.
He
What
thought he was going to make the point that one Democrat is equal to 2 Republicans. Now he can't keep up with us, and he's complaining.
All right.
No, I think they're twins actually. But
Is it the hair you think, the twins?
stop the everything. Okay, what's your middle name?
My-
What's the Z stand for in your name?
It stands for Zako.
Zako, and Zako is what?
It's Polish.
All right, Polish joke.
No. I
You've
don't
already
know.
told us Polish jokes. I want you to tell the audience. You got to have one nice Polish. You're Polish.
I am Polish,
All
and
right.
I personally do not take offense to Polish jokes. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, then tell me then.
I can laugh at myself, but I don't
look
know.
at the camera. Look at me. Tell them.
I don't know if other Polish people can, and I don't want to offend anybody.
Well, say English. I'm English. Use it as English.
Oh, absolutely not. Because I'm
No.
part English too. I'm half Polish. That's my father's name, obviously. It wasn't my mom's.
There we go. But one point that I wish to try to bring back here is that we're all from the same committee, which is Commerce, Banking, Insurance, and Consumer Affairs, which we're doing fleas and dogs. And
Well, it has to do with commerce. Dogs in the public in the marketplace. This is a follow-up to a bill we had
guns.
before.
We did guns.
Which
Because-
didn't belong there. That belonged in criminal
That belonged
justice.
in criminal
and you know
justice.
No.
Because what we got was
no.
the background check, which had to do with the sale, which is a commercial venture.
That was a stretch.
You've heard of commercial ventures, buying and selling things, commerce, not giveaways, but buying and selling and
I
things
think
like
so.
that? Okay, good.
Yeah, I do. I have.
Yanking your chain a little bit, Ken.
You are. Well, don't worry. It's been yanked before. But the whole point is the interesting aspect of what we were talking about. People maybe do not understand what we do, but it's interesting to have two people from the same committee. Now, your first term on Commerce. What do you think? I mean,
Well, it's different from the impression that one of the representatives gave me that was an all get along, go along committee. When I first,
at
yes, it's not. I mean, we are. I think we're very respectful of each other. We don't always agree, and sometimes it can get very heated, and people stand up and say their piece. But other than that, no, I think it is a very vibrant and verbose committee.
and you know, we had one Republican who came in and sat down. He had a bill or listening to a bill, and he was asked a question. I think it was Butler, our chairman Butler asked, and the guy goes, "Boy, I'll tell you, this has really been good." He says, "This is
We're a much
do-
more vibrant committee
We
than
are.
most of them.
We have had
not afraid.
people, lobbyists have told me that if they're on that floor and they have nothing
They
to do,
have fun.
they'll come in and sit down and listen
Yeah,
to us.
yeah, they do.
So are we like a circus? And I don't think so. I think we do a great job there. But that's
But
the
look at-
thing.
look at who you have.
You were just making fun of the fact that we're picking apart the bill to the nth degree like we do. That's our job. Our job is to make sure there aren't unintended consequences. And that's what I mean. I think the committee does a good job of trying to find those unintended consequences. Because the last thing we want to do is send over a half-baked bill over to the Senate and have the Senate
Have it kill it.
fix it or kill it.
You know, you're under the impression that senators are smarter than us.
I am not
No,
under
but
that.
they've got a different orientation on the way they approach bills. They really do. It's tough to define.
You're under the impression that they have a higher knowledge?
No,
or-
not at all
No.
a higher knowledge, just a different set of opinions. But
Yes.
they have to satisfy a much broader, a much different
Well, no, they have to
demographic
satisfy
than
the
we do.
24.
They have a different demographic to satisfy their constituents than we do.
You guys, constituents, come on now. The stuff that you Republicans have done.
Well, you know what?
Constituents
Maybe
might
you
do
don't
it.
do much for your constituents,
Maybe
Ken,
you
but I do a
don't.
lot for mine. and I
Those
take a
are
lot
the
of pride
people.
in
That is who I represent. Is the people of my two towns.
No, I am not saying that because I always tell people I'm from Ward 6. There's 3 of us from Ward 6, and I've always said that if it's good for Ward 6, it's usually good for the state of New Hampshire. Occasionally, you've got to go beyond where the place you live for the entire state.
Well, keep in mind one thing, though, and a lot of people ask me why we're so partisan on everything up there. I have to remind them we're not partisan on everything. The Republicans and the Democrats up there are in lockstep. We are together on 75, 80% of what we do. But the other 20% are the high volume things that suck all the oxygen out.
What part of the world are you from? I have somebody, we won't mention the name, okay? And we won't, because she's a nice person, and the bill hasn't come up yet, okay? She went into a subcommittee. She comes out of the subcommittee on this particular bill. She's asked to talk about it. She talks about it. She's a Republican. And the first thing is Hunt and a couple others, Republicans, go, we don't like that. And it's her, so she doesn't even want to vote for that which work she has done. Then she votes the amendment. Then she votes her against the whole bill, and it was her work that made the bill. That's Republicans?
Well, when Representative Hunt says we don't like that, I must say that sometimes he's using the royal we.
Have
And
you
it does
noticed?
not mean all of
Yes.
us. I don't always see eye to eye
Wait
with
a minute.
Representative
If I
Hunt.
remember you correctly, I stood up for you one day.
That's right.
And
Well,
I
if you
said
if,
to him,
Look at the
If you
votes,
remember correctly-
13 to 5, 14 to 4. There's a few of us who don't always go
That's right.
along.
if you remember,
Democrats are far better than Republicans. You should have been there when it was 4 to 18.
No, I guarantee this. If you go back and you look through all the votes that we took on in committee, the Republicans, by and far, are more split on our votes than the Democrats
What
are.
are you talking about?
you guys are in
You guys are
lockstep on almost
talking
everything.
about?
Lockstep.
You're lockstep.
Most of the votes in our committee, I take the votes. I'm the
They do have
Republican whip
therapy
on our
and
committee.
12-step programs for lockstep.
I'm the Republican whip on our committee, and I keep track of every vote that's taken.
I know.
And
I wish
almost
you,
everyone.
That's irritating, by the way.
That's
you're
right. I'm
left-handed.
sitting
He
there.
goes like this. It's like he's hiding
hitting
it
you?
from me. And
No,
I'm
I'm just
I thought he was
writing.
elbowing. I
But
thought he
I'm
was
keeping
elbowing
track,
you.
and I will guarantee you that on 95% of the bills, all of the Democrats vote together.
Have you
They
ever heard?
Always do.
Well, you know,
and we've got the 4 or 5 that'll vote one way and 3 or 4 that'll vote the other way.
and you
We
know what?
split
And-
on a
and
lot of them.
Excuse me.
That's-
Absolutely.
And look what happened to you.
Absolutely.
You're one person who got sort of beat up by.
By who?
Well,
I've never been
we're
beat up
talking
by
about
anybody on
Mr.
that.
Hunt said something to you once, and as
You
he
know what?
did to Sandblade, and I went, "Oh, wait
You
a
know
minute.
what? I don't
That's
care
not
what
fair.
I don't care what Representative Hunt thinks, and I have told him to his face that I'm going to vote the way my conscience and my constituents and my beliefs are. His may be different, but I tell you what. You said one of the
You
things we might talk
guys.
about was terms. I'm not going to run in the next election. I'm only going to serve this term. And one of the reasons for that, I don't want to get to be one of these people who sits there and says, you should vote the way I do because I've been here for 8 terms.
Yes.
I don't ever want to get to be that. I want to be there. I came in to learn the craft one term, which I did, and now this time I'm applying it full bore. And I don't care what anybody else thinks because I'm not
So,
currying
how
votes
many times
anywhere.
have you voted in the House floor for Democrats?
For Democrats.
On bills and Democrats?
Well, I don't.
None?
Oh, probably plenty
One?
of times.
I don't vote for
Consent
Democrats
bills.
or
No, I
mean,
for
and
Republicans. I
for-
vote the issue.
No,
I
no,
vote the
hold on
issue.
a second. But I know, but with the majority of Democrats, have you ever voted for with
Oh,
the
yeah.
majority of Democrats?
But now,
So if I
Hunt-
went
Look at the
back and I
consent
found
calendar.
and I could find this out,
Look
Yes,
at the
you can.
consent calendar.
you guys are beat up so badly. I feel sorry for you. I really do. And
My voting-
it surprises me because you guys have guts and you have
My-
character and
my voting record.
Republicans.
The House Republican Alliance grades people on the number of times they vote with the
But
principles
you're
of.
taking you're
No, wait a
doing
minute.
you're doing it.
No,
You're giving yourself the grade.
My percentage on that is about 89%.
I'm right there with. I think you're actually. No, maybe a little higher than you.
Yeah, I
right
think
there.
you're probably a little bit higher.
should be 100, but I'm not.
Representative Hunt is down in the low 80s or the high 70s. So there's a difference. Everybody votes different. They
But
vote their
those,
conscience.
but wait a minute. Those are only bills that are taking a position on
Constitutional
constitutional or platform
or
issues.
platform issues.
And they're only votes that are roll called.
Yeah.
So you're talking a very small subset of all the bills. Last spring when we did it, there was only 100 bills that the HRA graded. So out of how many bills did we go through? 500, 600
No,
bills?
but I think more than that. I think
More
it was,
than that.
it was
It
about
was
800 last year.
Exactly.
800, yeah.
So there you
800,
go.
it'll be
So we
about
only took a
700 this year.
position on that many bills. So you are looking at a small thing. Granted, they are ones that we have a reason to take a position
That's what I'm
on.
saying. There's a small number of bills that suck all the oxygen out of the air. They get hit in the
Those are the
newspapers
ones
and the
we
radio and TV.
grade.
They cover those. You'd think there was never another bill. I mean, you can open up the pages of the Union Leader and you can read about a half a dozen bills. And I said, why didn't they talk about the such and such bill, which is far more important and far reaching? It doesn't have that catchy public appeal. Remember the deal about the
no
colors
sizzle.
that the kids voted on, the state colors?
Yes.
That got more press than firearms
There's a
did.
couple things that
And it was
both
stupid.
Republicans and Democrats have done that have gone too far in the media.
And it makes
Sure.
us
And it
look,
really
as
makes us
a
all
body, look bad.
And that's why, to get back to the creative, artistically creative, if we could
be a
get
good
that
thing.
together.
Let's all stop all this stuff and have a concert.
Let's do, you know what we should do? We should go to biennial
Yeah, wait a
things.
minute. Did you vote for
And
the
the second
marijuana
ones.
bill?
No,
No.
I
For
did not.
marijuana.
No, I did
No.
not.
No,
I did not.
no, my constituents wouldn't want me to be voting for that, so I didn't.
Hypocrites.
No.
Why hypocrites?
Why
I
is
mean,
it
come
hypocrite?
on.
That's
Have you
who
ever smoked
elects me.
marijuana?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Have you?
Yep.
I don't believe this. Quickly, get a picture of this one. We're gonna need it. I'm getting these.
I'm not going to
Don't
be a
show this to
hypocrite.
my daughter who's 16, by the way.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Well, that's nice. I'm glad.
But it's a
And
parent.
you did. I did also. But I didn't.
But that's
I
a
didn't.
beautiful thing.
It just
Not a
lost.
big deal.
Yeah,
It
no
isn't a
deal.
big deal.
In fact, I don't
but-
drink either. Do you? Are you a drinker
Social.
yourself?
I gave it up for Lent.
Religion. How did she get religious? Like, I don't know,
Like when
Yes! She's
we
good.
Leave, we leave here, I'm going to go have dinner. I'm going to have a Guinness.
And
And
that's
nectar,
religion.
that's nectar of the gods. I'm Irish.
And I'm
She
going-
may be Polish. I'm Irish.
And I'm going home
It's also
to my.
good when you're sick.
And I'm going home to my intelligent wife who just wrote a book, and a Jack Russell who will bite me for no reason at all.
Oh.
But I'm happy that we're here, the three of us. But I'm also happy we're from the same committee because
makes
it
it
is.
easy.
In you see, I disagree with you.
On what?
Well, I'll tell you what I disagree with.
a lot of things.
Well, a lot of things. But the only reason why I may run one more time, all right, and this is not from me, it's from somebody else who stepped in. You have a good point. The point is, you don't want to be there too long. You don't want to
Yes.
be
I'm gonna-
part of the.
I don't
You
wanna
don't want
be
to
part
tell
of the
people.
machine.
You don't want to be told what to do. But someone said to me, he said, Ken, wait till June to make up your mind. He said, because commerce is so complicated.
Yes, it is.
You know, the banking and the insurance. No, I don't know another committee who's gone through what we've gone through.
We only had 3, 4 people, 5 people that came back. Schlockman and Hunt, you and me, and
Butler.
Was Flanders there before?
Flanders.
Flanders
Yeah.
was always there.
Flanders.
And that's 5 of us are all that came back from last term. And everybody else is new, so there has to be turnover.
But that term before was a lot of turnover too. You had
There was,
pretty much
yeah.
a really new committee then as well.
But I think that the great outcome would be if half of the people who serve in the House served 1 or 2 terms, voluntarily. No, not necessarily term limits, but
That
that's
does
kind of a
happen
nice number.
involuntarily too.
And then another 25% served 3 or 4 terms. That's where you get your chairman, the people who know their subjects and everything else.
That's
And
my point.
And then
That's
another
my point.
25% can serve as long as they want. That's your institutional memory, that's your senior leadership and things like that. But if they're senior leadership, they got to continue to lead. And the chairmen have got to do good things to move bills through. We're so slow in our committee this year.
You see, we didn't. I was going to be probably vice chair because we weren't sure if someone was going to come back, and I said no. Then they said, "Would you like to be secretary?" I said no.
It's
And
a lot
I
of
think Munz
responsibility.
look at the job Munz is
But
doing.
he's doing a good job.
He's doing a great
Boy,
job.
I'll tell you.
He's got his computer there, and he's
Boy, he's
very
good.
good notes.
And he's running for the Senate.
So I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Wish him all the luck in the world.
Well,
I don't think he's running against a very formidable candidate.
Well, yes,
Very
yes, he is.
formidable incumbent.
So he's got one term.
Senator Stiles
Yeah.
has got probably the best record in the entire Senate of constituent service. I don't agree with her on everything. She is very moderate. She's in the middle. I don't agree with her on things like Reggie. I don't agree with her on Medicaid, Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, where you pay money. If you pollute too much, you pay money, and they give it away to people. It's another
if you have
income
cows,
income
two cows,
redistribution.
you pay more.
Right, it's income.
But I don't agree with her on that. I don't agree with her on Medicaid, and I don't agree with her on Common Core. But other than that, she's a pretty solid Republican on most other issues. And she's very, I mean, when she ran against Martha Fuller Clark, when she defeated Senator Clark, she did that by almost taking Clark's hometown of Portsmouth. A Republican almost took Portsmouth away from her. And then she won in all the other places. That's how she won the whole thing. And now, with the redistricting, Portsmouth is no longer in there. Now it's a much stronger Republican district, and I think a Democrat's going to have a very difficult time. I think Chris is going to, he's got a learning curve that's like this.
Well, let's get back, because a lot of states have term limits for the politicians. Our term limits is paid nothing.
Yeah.
That's it. It does, and it terms us out after a while.
And there was a time where, and I'll bet you there are more bankruptcies, really, more families being destroyed. I mean, I'm not.
No,
let's
I'm
face
serious.
it.
This
unless
is a
you-
tough job.
For instance, you have a wonderful spouse who happens to be here who backs you. You have a terrific person, from what I understand, who backs you.
Yes.
And I'm right on the edge of my
Edge of divorce?
Smarter than me, and a dog that bites me. No, but we need.
Yeah. You're going to have
We
support to be
need
able
the
to do that.
ladies. You need your husband.
We do. We
strong
need,
like that.
and you need your spouse too. You have to have that support because it is, as you know, a taxing job. I mean, I worked 5 days this week. Here it is, late on an afternoon, and here we are doing stuff that we wouldn't normally be doing if we weren't in the legislature.
You've got to have a spouse that when you get out of there, when you're in session and you can't make a phone call, when you get out of the session and it's 6:30 and you say, well, I finally got out, you still got any dinner around? And she says, yeah, I'll fix something up for you. That's tolerance of a very
Does your husband make
inconvenient
dinners?
schedule.
I don't eat a whole lot. When I get home, I'm too tired.
So what the answer is, no, he doesn't make good dinner. All right, Fred,
No.
we're giving him a call.
Frosted mini wheats is great.
Yeah, we're going to have yourself and your husband on.
Yes,
One time.
yes. He's
And I hear
quite
he's
the
a
character.
Democrat, I heard?
No, he's no. I did not say he's a Democrat. He's
I'm trying.
He's fiscally conservative, and he's probably a lot more social.
So I can push his buttons and you two can
Oh,
argue?
he'll agree with you. You talk about social issues, he'll agree with you.
Yeah, he'll agree with you on the social issues, but
you talk about taxes, he's after you.
yeah, he's a bright guy.
Which reminds us, what taxes do we have?
Hey, you guys are trying to put every tax back in that we took out last term. You know, when we came into office...
Wait a minute. Well, cigarette tax a dime, we lost 40 million.
You lost that because the economy went down.
No, the economy was on the way up.
No, it wasn't.
No.
So we lost
You
40
see where
million
we
by
are in
taking
terms
that
of the
out.
revenues versus projections?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
happening.
good.
Cigarette taxes came in the black last term. They came in the black for that last term.
The
You're
forecast.
dreamers. You guys are just,
The forecast.
You get two of you together and
What you don't
was
seem to
so-
remember, Ken,
so
is when we came into office last term, 3 years ago, when we came in, we discovered when we got there that there was an $800 million deficit. And Charlie Arlinghouse from the Josiah Bartlett Center came down and briefed us on that and said, if you want
From
to
the what
balance
center?
the Josiah Bartlett
And
Center
that's
for
the
Public Policy.
And that's the ultra
Nothing.
Republican.
He's an economist. He's an
an
economist.
No, but the ultra Republican.
economist.
Let's
No, he's
spin this
not.
wheel a little
No,
bit more.
he
So
talks
comes back.
Absolutely
in dollars and cents. And he said, if you want to balance the budget, which you are obliged by law to do, you're going to have to cut the budget by 10%. We said, you can't do that. It has never been cut before, except one time since World War II in the second Merrill administration. They cut it by 1%. We had to cut it by 10. We actually, I think he said 12. We cut it, and everybody said, you've cut all of our favorite programs, all the social programs. So when it went over to to the Senate said, you know, public, we agree with you. A lot of those programs should be reinstated. So they did. They put a lot of them back in, but they didn't change the bottom line. And as a result, they had to take it out of other places. So half of the population was ticked off at the House for cutting their programs, and the other half was ticked off at the Senate for cutting theirs.
And what I have said on this show,
but we balanced the budget.
What I said many times is the Republicans go up there and they sound like they're doing a great job, and then they come back to Nashua, and the city has to make it up, and it costs the city of Nashua money and the taxpayers money because you guys up in...
There was no downshifting. There was no, your partner on this show, Bill O'Brien, you ask him, there was no downshifting, and he's the guy that's got all the statistics to prove it.
The one who must not be named.
You but
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
The one who must not be named.
Oh,
Ooh.
But
you know, I can't get a Democrat to come on with Bill O'Brien.
Why? He's
Because-
a
you
very
know,
personable person, as you know.
Exactly. Well, and I'll tell you, and I've told the Democrats this. Look, Democrats, you gotta wake up as far as the media goes. I helped found us, or U.S. Democrats, this show, and I also do one other show, a creative show. But here at this station, I believe there are 3 shows that are Republican. And the Democrats have got to wake up and do more media. I can get Republicans, one drove down from Hampton. I mean, come on, to come down here and do this show. But I can't get anyone from Nashua on Democrats.
That's seen in public with you, Ken.
Well, no, but
Only kidding.
No,
only
but
kidding.
you see, I found that there's 2 sides to the story.
Yes.
I said that Democrats really got beat up the time before, and now they're coming back to a degree, to a vengeance. And I'm saying, let's all get together.
But remember,
I prefer this over an all left or right show, if you want to do it that way, where we actually have an exchange of ideas.
Yeah.
And like we said in the beginning, we can do this, and you know what? In the end of the day, we're still okay with each other. It's
That's
not
right.
personal.
You know, the last term, during
It can't be
Well,
personal.
it isn't
before
for
the
me.
last election,
Oh yeah, she's acted so nice. And
before the last
Please.
election, one of the things that your party did, you did it successfully. You demonized Bill O'Brien, and you made it as if he was the bad guy that did all of these things.
break.
Oh, come on.
It was all
Give
about
me a
him.
break.
It was
You
all
put
about he
little
was
horns on his
bullying
head. It
people
was
and everything else.
unbelievable.
Bullying people.
That's what they said.
Excuse me.
Who?
That's what they said.
Excuse
That's what the
me.
press
Who
said.
did he bully?
Excuse me. We had the only bill in the history of the country to have a bullying bill that wasn't for the kids out on the playground. It was for the Republicans in the House of Representatives.
Well, we need one this year then, too.
Brought to you by Republicans who brought it up.
No, you know who brought it up?
Who?
I believe it was Representative Emerson, was it not?
Yes,
Who?
it was.
Representative Emerson, who claims
Is she a
that he yelled
Republican?
and screamed at her.
Yes.
Now, if you remember,
Is
she's
she
a Republican. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
she-
so she brought up a bill
yeah,
bullying against.
her, she said.
And there was no substantiated
No
claim.
nothing to substantiate it, but it went on the emotion and it went on the spin machine.
My point is this. If it gets to the point where your own party, your own
No.
Republicans say that you're being bullied, if it's true or it's not true, and it goes up as a bill, that's ridiculous. Now,
Wait.
having said, let me finish. As far as it goes with Bill O'Brien, all right, I have got to know Bill, et cetera, and what he went through. Do I like his politics? No, I don't. And that's
don't
why
have
we.
to.
That's why
But
we.
don't say
we
that he
go-
bullied
we go
people,
back
because he
and
didn't.
forth.
He
I never
didn't.
said that. Don't look at me.
But the whole thing
But
was.
it was the Republicans who said it.
No, one
They
person
brought
did
the
it.
bill up.
One person.
She did. One person did.
That's all it
wasn't-
takes.
Hey, we had 300 out of 400
I hate to
people
say it,
last
there's
time.
some Democrats from.
We had
one couple
300
from Nashville
people. We
doesn't.
had a 300 to 100 majority last time, and one of those 300 brought up this bill. That was it. And then the Democrats climbed on and said, "You see, he's a bully." That was so far out of proportion.
Excuse me, Les, you can't rewrite history. The fact is, it
You
was
did.
a Republican bringing it up against the Republican bullying bill in the House of Representatives.
You failed
That's
to,
so silly.
Hold on. You forgot to mention that she ran as for speaker against Bill O'Brien, too, so there was a lot of bad blood there.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You're trying to say, no,
yes.
no,
The good things are the good.
Come
but the,
on, you know people
okay.
hold grudges in your party.
First of all, that should have never gone that far. Republican or a
shouldn't.
Democrat. And if it
shouldn't have.
was a Democrat, I would have gone and said,
Okay.
look, let us go someplace and work this out.
And they did, and that's exactly what they
exactly
tried.
what, and then went away.
And
it
it
didn't
should've.
go away, but it went away.
But remember this, Ken. She claimed that she was bullied because she did not disagree. She did not agree with O'Brien's position on a major bill. I had the same thing happen. I disagreed with O'Brien and the governor and everybody else, on my committee chair, everybody on a bill. And I went to O'Brien and I said, I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to oppose you on this bill. Freshman legislature, early in the session, I don't even remember what the bill was now, but I went to Bill in his office and I told him I was going to work as hard as I could against it. And he really wanted it because he tried to get people to rally around. He said to me, okay, you do what you have to do. He didn't bully me. He didn't try to talk me out of it. And
hold on
we
a second.
lost by only 2 votes.
Hold on a second. I am not saying that what took place regarding the bullying bill, it's too bad that it was put up on the board because it really looked bad. A bullying bill against Republicans brought up by a Republican.
But no. You're putting far too much credence into one.
No, into
a
the
lady
whole
who is
party thing.
a very suspect in her
You say
motives.
what you want. This is a piece of paper. You can call it anything you want to, but it's still a piece of paper, okay? So
if
it
some-
was up there.
One person, one bill, and again, you're
trying to make
taking
it the whole
it's
thing, it's the whole Republican
anecdotal
Party.
at
I
this
am
point.
trying to get out of this because
it's
I
an-
happen to like Bill.
it's an
okay? So
anecdotal
don't.
bill is
Are
what
you
it
guys
is.
trying to make it
You're
look like
giving
I don't like Bill O'Brien?
Yeah,
Oh,
because that's what you're doing.
no.
That's what
I
you're doing.
beg your pardon. I
Because
am
the
not.
person who brought that bill was a very suspect motive
You know,
herself.
I've been trying to get out of this. You guys want to keep it going.
Well, if you want
right?
to talk about bullying, why don't we talk about the current session and how we go around the rules to make things happen, as we do.
How
about this week?
I wanted to save a couple minutes, 1 minute, because we got 2.5 minutes left. Okay, I just want to ask one thing about we're putting together here in the city of Nashua, our elected officials trying to get Anthem to bring one of our hospitals back. We're the second largest city. They took one of our hospitals back away. Also, I think Coas County was it, and one of the counties have no hospitals. And I was the
Portsmouth
only
is
one.
not
By the
part of
way,
it.
I got voted 18-0. I'm the only person who voted for the bill. So, anyway, what do you think about Anthem? About taking hospitals away? Can you live with that?
It's private, as long as it's private enterprise, you can't control it. They've got to do it according to the economics. If the economics, including the economics of Obamacare as they apply to that hospital, prevent them from operating profitably, they should be able to do whatever they want. It's private money. On the other hand, it is good to have medical care scattered throughout the state, so it's convenient. You can't have both worlds all the time.
It's unfortunate that one of the unintended consequences of Obamacare was the closing of all of these
That's right.
hospitals.
Well, hold on a second. Wait, no, the reason why these hospitals are closing is because you Republicans made it illegal to form an insurance exchange, and guess what happens?
Because it's going to put the
Because
state
insurance-
$50 million in debt.
In comes Anthem, and Anthem goes, oh, well, we'll do it. So they take...
Anthem's the only one.
We'll be $50 million
No,
in debt
it's-
in
it's
3
not
years
us.
when the funding isn't there from the feds.
Stop,
That's
you
been
guys.
predicted
You
ever
know
since the
that.
beginning.
And I know 10,000 people will be alive, but so what? So we got a minute
And they'll all be in your
I
ward.
want out of this.
They'll all be in
You're
your
going to start winding this down if you want to get out of it with a smile on your face.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But let's just go around. I want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
and I
for
do hope
having
you-
me.
Please give the people out there how they get in touch with you.
I can be reached at Pam, Z as in zebra, T as in Tom, at Comcast.net, or my cell phone number is 531-0085.
You have a website?
No, I don't.
Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook, Pam Tucker.
Well,
That's me.
all right, there you go. Facebook. Yourself.
Okay. For myself, you can reach me on my cell phone at 603-512-4146. And my email is fcrice@comcast.net.
And everybody knows how to get me. Just open the door and say, hey, Kenny, and I'll run over. We got about 21 seconds. I do want to thank you. We got to do this again. As I said, one of the reasons why I think it's really great doing it is because we're from the same committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very much enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
Yes.
Enjoyed the friendly
Yes.
nature of it.
Thank you.
And let's wave
We
for
do
the
this
camera.
every day.
Goodbye, camera.
Bye,
Goodbye,
camera.
everybody. See you next time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.